If it's been at least 6 months since your last dose of Pfizer or Moderna, or at least 2 months since your last dose of J&J, it's time for a booster. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find a booster near you. Let's keep our immunity strong. Get your booster and a flu shot while you're at it too. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Are you wondering how to spend more time in your car? No? Then order GoPuff and get thousands of items delivered in minutes, from early till late. We deliver groceries, snacks, cleaning supplies, and anything else you need. Fast. Like shampoo, toilet paper, and everything from Bevmo. Whether it's stocking up for later or picking up a few things you forgot, hit us up. So, need something? GoPuff. Be right there. Download and use code NEW for $10 off your first 3 orders. Must be 21 to purchase alcohol.
As human beings, everybody has a natural gift, a natural passion, but then you outside and you get influenced, you feel pressure from what's going on outside. And so, I read one time, like, would you rather be at war with yourself and at peace with the world, or at peace with yourself and at war with the world? And that was powerful.
All right, welcome back to the Bronze Room.
Yes, sir.
We are excited to have you back with us.
Always.
To enjoy another episode of controversial topics, headline news, and anything that, really stood out this week to me and Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's funny, or what's interesting rather, I was thinking about that, like how we come in like that. And it's really like everyday topics from the black perspective.
Oh yeah, man, that's the only perspective we have. So,
right. I mean, we got the male perspective.
We have the male perspective as well.
Right.
Absolutely.
We got
100%.
The handsome gentleman perspective.
1,000%.
That's just from what I was told. My mother told me that, and I believe my mother.
Yeah, I mean, she's a credible source.
That's what I'm saying.
She's a credible source. So yeah, we got some great topics to talk about today. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our friend of the podcast, as well as one of the producers, LJ. He has our intro music on point. I don't know if you guys are able to hear the voice over the instrumental, but it's a man who's saying, "Would you rather be at war with the world and at peace with yourself, or at peace with the world and at war with yourself?"
That's powerful.
It's super powerful, man.
That is powerful, bro. I mean, because if we could take a couple of seconds to dive into that, though,
right?
Because I would rather be at peace with myself, because there's nothing like self-peace, man.
Nothing like it.
You could let's just take a random person like, what's his name? Anthony Bourdain?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody who had it all, literally.
R.I.P.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he was at war with himself, apparently, unfortunately, and we all saw the end result of that.
Right.
So,
peace it can't be understated.
Overstated. Not at all. Self-care is big these days for that very reason. Mental health is big these days for that very reason.
Right.
As much of a pessimist as I am about where the world is headed,
understatement.
In those regards, we are headed in the right direction.
I agree. I do like that there is a much larger focus that's beginning to happen on mental health,
100%.
Anxiety and depression in particular.
Yeah.
Anxiety, depression in the black community in particular. It's very important. I feel like we as a community historically have not paid enough attention to it, and that's no secret, right? Everybody knows that. And
right.
Yeah, I like where it's heading.
Yeah. Which also brings us into our first segment of the day.
Yeah.
On this day today, and correct me if I'm wrong, 1857.
It was 1857. Yes, sir. March 6th, 1857.
March 6th, 1857, the Dred Scott decision was made that essentially denied Dred Scott, who was a slave at the time, his freedom when he sued I believe it was probably the federal government to petition his freedom. He had lived in a couple of states above the northern, or above the border between the North and the South. And because of that, by the book, so to speak, I guess, he was supposed to be a free man.
Right.
His owner had, owned him in the state of Wisconsin and Illinois for a certain amount of time, which should have rendered him free.
Right.
But they upheld that he was still property, and he was sent back into slavery after that decision was made.
Absolutely. Yeah, it basically effectively upheld slavery in the United States, well, in those territories at that time. It denied legality of black citizenship in America, and it declared the Missouri Compromise to be unconstitutional. That was another thing that it did. I was actually reading up on it, and one of the things that I have found interesting was some of the Supreme Court justices, some of their thinking back then. And of course, it's no secret that they were racist, right? But it was just interesting to see how they thought specifically about this. One of the Supreme Court justices, his name was Taney, Chief Justice Roger Taney. So his opinion was that enslaved people weren't citizens of the United States,
Right.
And they had no rights to sue in federal courts, and that African Americans couldn't be citizens, right? So I just thought that was real interesting. I mean, it really, obviously, it gave light to what was going on back then.
Yeah, 100%. If it wasn't abundantly clear to Dred Scott's black ass, he wasn't. You ain't a citizen.
Use the system.
My nigga, you ain't a citizen, dog.
Yeah, you can't use the
Get
system.
your ass out of my courtroom.
Right.
And get back to picking that cotton.
For real. Quite literally.
Quite literally. And,
Right,
I joke about it, but that's some serious shit, man.
That's kind of basically what he said.
That's essentially what he said. Probably a little less comically than that, but or maybe more so. It might have been more so.
Did you see this nigga
This
right
uppity
here?
nigga right here
In my courthouse?
Man, so we come a long way, thank God.
Amen.
And we got a long way to go. But yeah, that decision was made today, in 1857, and it would also be one of the major events that took place in the country that would drive more of a wedge between the abolitionists and those who were trying to uphold the institution of slavery.
Yeah, and it would eventually
lead to the Civil War.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, shout out to the Republican Party.
That's
the party that freed the slaves.
Rare words.
And I'll never repeat them again. Ever.
You heard it here,
That's
folks.
your one shout out.
One time and one time only.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. That's so interesting. I think we should take some time later in a different episode
100%.
to look at where the Republican parties and Democrats, right? Where they
100%.
started out, how they flipped.
Right.
That's so interesting to me. I'd like to dig more into that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, ultimately, I think where the conversation is going to lead for me is that they are both the same. How do I pose this? They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Two sides of the same coin. You're getting fucked either way. No lube.
Like, lube or no lube. You decide.
Yeah, we're going to give you that much. But you're getting fucked.
What you getting?
You getting fucked.
You getting fucked today. That's funny. That's hilarious. Well, I don't have a transition into this next subject.
Rough. I'm sorry. I didn't lay that up for you.
I was looking for the alley.
I said, nah, I'm taking the ball myself, bro.
Yeah. Okay, Kobe. I see you.
Right.
I see you.
All day.
Well, speaking of basketball, our next subject. So
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice segue.
Yeah. I do what I do. So our first topic today is about Brittany Griner. So in case you guys didn't know, Brittany Griner, who plays for the Phoenix Mercury, she is a basketball player. She was arrested in Georgia, I believe on the 28th of February, somewhere around then, on drug charges. She was arrested in Russia on drug charges.
I thought you meant like Atlanta, Georgia. You talking about Georgia, the country?
Did I say Georgia?
You
I'm
said
sorry,
Georgia.
I meant Russia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
She was arrested in Russia. My bad. On drug charges. And the drug charges to me were kind of interesting.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So she didn't. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Right. So here are the facts. So she was carrying what they called cannabis-derived oil cartridges. Right, which apparently could lead to a maximum of a 10-year prison sentence in Russia. So it wasn't like she wasn't actually carrying like weed or anything, but she was carrying like cannabis products, like it was like oil. So they found like those kind of things in her bag.
And the charges are trafficking. That's what they're throwing at her?
So I don't know if it's trafficking. I think it's just drug possession. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of interesting.
Ooh, that is rough. Prayers out to her because she's been detained currently in Russia.
Right. Yes.
What was she doing over there in the first place?
So she had joined the Russian Women's Basketball Premier League this winter. So she was actually playing for Russia.
Oh man.
Right? Ain't that cold?
So she was.
Or she's playing in Russia.
She's playing in Russia. She was traveling between a Russian city and another Russian city, or was she traveling internationally at the time?
It was internationally, so she was leaving Russia.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And they caught her. Yeah, and they found it in her bag. And part of me wonders if this whole thing that is currently going on in Ukraine, if it wasn't happening, if the situation would be the same.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like to me that they might be doing that just because she's an American citizen.
Right. It seems a little bit like retaliation, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Almost. I mean, we can't say for sure, but it definitely seems like that because we've really been fucking with like Russian oligarchs and
we have.
And a lot of Russian assets. So to me, it almost seems like quid pro quo in that sense.
100%. 100%. That really sucks, man. I mean, gosh, I don't want to come down on this young lady, but given that political atmosphere right now, you got to move a little smarter.
Yeah, I agree.
You have got to move a little smarter.
Yeah.
And this is for all my people out there. You got to protect your ass, man. You really do. Like, I understand, like, for one, are we really tripping off cannabis these days? Anybody?
Well, Russia's a little bit more strict, right?
Right. And so, you're right. But I'm assuming, and I don't know, but I assume that if she felt comfortable enough to do that, then they have to be kind of lax on it, too. For the most part, I doubt she's the only one traveling around on her team with she ain't the only piehead on the team. I guarantee that.
Right. But she was the only one that got detained. And then not only that, who around you is not telling you, yo, this not the decision you want to make right now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why don't you have people around you that are saying you're in Russia? There's a conflict going on. You guys need to be a little bit smarter about
target on your back.
Exactly.
As an American,
as an American
in
citizen.
Russia.
Right. Not just as an American, but she's still black.
And a black.
You know what I'm saying?
Woman at that.
She's still black.
Yeah, we already know how. So that that hurts my soul.
It's rough.
Because going to prison in itself is already a hell. It's a hellacious situation.
Right.
Being in a Russian prison
exactly.
It's got to be sitting right next door to Satan. It's got to be. Man, hopefully she's doing all right in there, and hopefully she doesn't get convicted of anything too long, not too long or too heavy of a sentence. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm in on that part.
But I mean, at the same time, like I said, or maybe I haven't said this, but are we really tripping off of weed these days? Even in Russia, I feel like You know what I'm saying? For one, all right, Russia, check it out.
All right,
Y'all
hold on.
economy
Chris about
is
to lay it down.
y'all economy is in the shits, man.
Yeah.
Y'all should be open. Y'all should be welcoming with open arms the cannabis industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you hurting yourself by keeping this illegal.
Right, because there are sanctions on damn near everything else that you're exporting.
Right, you better bring in that cannabis industry, bruh.
Right.
And help your pockets out, because your oligarchs, they're kind of upset right now.
Kind of upset?
They're real upset right now, getting their assets frozen, taken, seized. Free Brittany Grimer. Free Brittany Grimer.
Free Brittany Grimer.
Somebody put those shirts out.
There you go.
Let's get a hashtag going and
definitely
support our sister overseas.
Yeah, so our prayers are out to you, Brittany. We wish you the best. And, like Chris said, free Brittany Grimer.
Right. Wasn't that a hashtag maybe a few months ago? It wasn't just free Brittany. It was free Brittany.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think we should conflate the two.
Man.
I mean, two different. I got nothing but respect for
Yeah,
Britney
shout out
Spears,
to the other Brittany too.
Yeah, but it's two different situations.
Childhood crush.
Your childhood crush?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely. Back in 6th grade. Woo. When she first came out, "Ooh Baby Baby." At the school, right there you go. had the little schoolgirl outfit on in the video. Man, everybody was over that. We were all over that.
Yeah. Yo, Brittany was. I mean,
knee high
still
socks.
fine, though. She still got it.
I haven't seen her lately.
Really?
So I can't,
Okay.
I
She
can't
still
weigh
looks
in
good.
on it. Does she?
Yeah, she still looks good. What's she like in her 40s now?
I would imagine if I was in the 6th grade when she came out, and let's just say she was 18 at the time. Maybe she was a little younger than that. But let's give her 15. It's been about 30 years since then.
Right.
She's 40 years. It's been about 25 years since then. So 15 plus 25 is about 40.
No. I'm just saying she's 15 plus 25 is 35, but she's 40 years old.
15 plus 35 is 50? I'm sorry. Say that again. What's the math?
Yo, where's your math?
Where's your math?
You said 15 plus 25.
It's 40.
No, it's not.
15 plus 25 is 40.
Okay, I thought you said 15 plus 20. My bad. Yeah.
So how old is she really?
40.
She's 40. Okay, see, y'all spot on.
You were spot on.
Yeah.
Man. All right, you guys heard it here. Chris, good at math.
I'm real good at math.
We'll get at to you. Just speak up next time. Yeah, she looks good for a 40-year-old, man.
Yeah,
well, not for a 40-year-old, but she looks good.
She's good in general.
Yeah, she looks good in general.
Especially after all she been through, man. I know she was going through it.
For real.
A few times. With her dad, with homie Kevin, whatever his name is.
Federline.
Her baby daddy.
Yeah.
Man.
What was up with that dude, Kevin Federline?
Kevin was, you know what I'm saying, he was out here just trying to be a rapper.
Was that what
and I don't blame him. That's everybody's move at some point or another.
Right. I remember when I wanted to be a rapper.
The same. I still do want to be a rapper.
I still got
it might happen. Y'all follow me when I come out with my new album.
Hey, what's your name gonna be?
Shoot. I don't know. That's a good one. Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah. Reese's Pieces. I can see you doing something with Drake and Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, man, it's coming. It's coming soon.
Yeah,
be on the lookout for it.
Yeah. I feel like though you should do something that was related to your shark attack. When that shark came, it's like snatched your
I'm
face.
gonna do a clap back.
Yeah, you got to clap back on that shark.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He thought I forgot about it.
Yeah,
I'm coming for your ass.
So in case y'all didn't know, for those of us who didn't know, Chris was recently in a shark attack. So was it like a month ago now?
Yeah, I was out there trying to test out my sea legs.
Yeah, and that's why black people don't surf.
Yeah, exactly. Stay away from the water, black people. It's not for you.
It's not for us.
It's not for you.
It ain't it.
But yeah, little punk ass shark came, tried to bite my lip off, but he had another thing coming. He didn't know.
Real.
He didn't know who he was messing with.
And you still got them shark teeth on your necklace too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I'm gonna come for his son. For his family.
Your family.
You mess with the wrong brother. I'm telling you
right. Curse on your mama, curse on your daddy, curse on your whole household.
Nah, this ain't a battle. This is a forever war that you step into. Forever.
Y'all done messed up. See, y'all done messed up. That's funny.
But yeah, man. Yeah. What's up? What's our next story for today?
All right. So next up,
you know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
On the topic of Russia.
Yeah.
Russia, as we all know, is in a war with the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the citizens of the Ukraine right now who are under duress and a lot of heavy stress and everything. As America, we have pretty much been in opposition to Russia for a long time, internationally speaking, since the Cold War.
Yep.
And so this war is
Since Sputnik.
Yeah, this war right now, we are very much in favor of the Ukraine because they are going against one of our most sworn enemies,
Mm-hmm.
if I may put it like that, more dramatic.
I don't know if it's that dramatic.
No?
I don't know if they're
Is
like
that-
our sworn enemy.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, they're definitely I would say they're probably damn close to a sworn enemy.
As close as we can get, probably.
As close as we can get.
I
We
was-
don't
I
have
was
that
gonna say,
relationship
like-
with anybody else.
North Korea? Nah.
No. I mean, yes, today,
Mhm.
but we've been beefing with Russia since the 50s.
Yeah, that's true.
Since the
That's true.
50s.
Yeah.
That's a long ass time.
That is. You know, it's funny though. I thought that our relationship with Russia was getting better.
Well,
really
because
did.
of Trump. Trump was very pro-Russia,
Mm.
along with some of the Republican party.
He's still pro-Russian.
I believe so. I think he put his foot in his mouth maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he called him a genius.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. If you like Russia, whatever. I don't have beef with Russia.
I don't either.
You know, I
Yo,
don't
Russia, if you
get
listen-
brought into this fight that, you know, Russia ain't done shit to me.
Like, he ain't hacked my computers.
Right. They haven't done anything to me. They are, however, invading Ukraine, a sovereign nation, which is, you know, it's not cool, Russia.
The loss of life.
Right. But we do have to shed light on the fact that this was not a totally unprovoked siege.
Mm-hmm.
It has less to do with the Ukraine and more to do with NATO.
Mm-hmm.
And not too many people are privy to the information or to the fact that NATO has kind of been encroaching on Russian territory since NATO came together.
Yeah.
The original agreement when NATO was brought together was to, I guess, they weren't supposed to be inching their way east. You know, it's
Okay.
them and 21 countries, I think, that are in NATO now.
NATO runs that deep?
Yeah,
21 nations?
I believe
wonder
so.
if
That's
there's
the
like
information I've heard over the past couple weeks.
I wonder if there's like a nation block, like a block of nations that's that deep as NATO.
That's a good question. I mean, I know Africa is supposed to. There's an alliance of African nations that, I think of the whole damn continent, damn near,
Really?
that are supposed to be in solidarity with one another. But it's probably a lot less loose, much more loose of a connection than NATO has.
Okay. But this 21 nation block has been slowly encroaching eastwards.
Yeah, when they were supposed to kind of have a limit on their power and their alliances.
Okay.
And, you know, the fact that we have been trying to convince the Ukraine to be a part of NATO is not taken lightly by Russia because the Ukraine is on the border of Russia.
Right. It's like right at the doorstep. But is it us convincing Ukraine to join, or is it Ukraine showing interest in joining? Because
I think it's mutual.
it is a both.
I think
both ways.
I think it's going both ways.
Okay.
Yeah. And according to what the agreement's supposed to be, it doesn't matter if a country is interested in joining NATO or not. It's not supposed to happen. So Russia's kind of have had their back against the wall for a while now, and them lashing out in this way, I think, is due to that. It's due to NATO's encroachment.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they're not really talking about that. As far as I know, I mean, well, what is the media saying about why Putin is invading Ukraine? Have they shed light on that at all?
No, there's been a lot of speculation on why he's doing it. Some of the more mainstream theories has to do with that he feels like the West has been encroaching eastward for some time now. Really, that really is the main arching reason.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, why else would you do that? There's been a recent recent theory that he's doing it as a start to a full-scale invasion of some of the other Eastern European nations to bring them back into the fold.
Yeah. Because they once upon a time were a part of Russia and the Soviet Union.
Yeah, but that theory doesn't necessarily make sense, because one of the speeches that, where Putin talks about how excuse me, all of these nations actually continue to belong to Russia. I mean, this was like years and years ago, like alliances ago, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those thoughts and those theories don't make sense because they are established independent nations now. So it just wouldn't make sense. Yeah. So that kind of puts a little bit of a hole in that boat. But there's some people still talking about it.
Yeah. So Russia is just he's like that. Russia is like the ex-boyfriend who can't get over what he once had with the love of his life.
Yeah, he's like the Kevin Federline of Europe.
Oh,
easy.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Well, like we said before, and we'll say it again: free Brittany.
Yeah,
free Ukraine.
Oh, bro, you just brought it all the way around.
Free Ukraine.
All the way around. I like that.
Now, I will say this. Okay, let's bring it back. As much as I'm in favor of a sovereign nation remaining sovereign, I do want to shed some light on the Ukraine, because they ain't all up and up on the up and up either, unfortunately. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of news in the news lately about a lot of racism being taking place in the Ukraine, specifically with people who are of African descent.
Well, not only African,
but Indian as well.
Yeah,
exactly. Let's not neglect our Indian brothers.
Yeah, you still POCs.
Absolutely. And so they are denying transportation out of Ukraine on with some racist base. It was based in a lot of racism. They were letting all the white Ukrainian people flee, not the Africans.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you say that, because there's also a counter narrative to that too, that it's not just the Ukrainians, but it's some of the outer nations as well, like Poland and some of the neighboring nations that aren't letting them through because they don't have the correct kind of visa.
Yeah, and I've heard that argument as well. What's the true reason? We'll never know. But
I mean, it sounds like bullshit.
It sounds like bullshit to me.
Like,
it really
visa
does.
Or not, if you're in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I mean, given that this is a wartime,
right?
Rules and exceptions are made, or rules are broken, exceptions are made.
Yeah.
I would like to see if that same angle is being taken towards white Ukrainians without the proper paperwork.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you bring up. That I would be interested in seeing that. And speaking just solely on on that specific vein of the conversation, in wartime, you would think that none of that should really matter if you're fleeing for your life, if you're a refugee.
Right, you're a refugee at that point.
Exactly. And I can understand, okay, let's say that there are, if you want to put a limit on which, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, which individuals can get out, I can understand women and children
100%.
Before everybody else. 100%. But even then, you got to do it across the board. You got to do it every race, for everybody, regardless of your race or whatever. Women and children get out, and then the men, you got to stay until we can sort everything else out.
Right. And then the video clips that I saw, there were not only African men that were being left behind, but they had children with them as well. Women and children were in that group of people that were being left or denied transportation.
Right. Now, we always got to preface it with, when it comes to, we are in the information age, right? So when it comes to any kind of videos or documentation, anything can be taken out of context.
For sure.
You know, and I do understand that only goes so far, right? You know, doing something wrong is doing something wrong. You fucking up. So, but, you know, we do want to shed light on the fact that we don't know the whole story. We don't know exactly what's going on over there, but from the looks of it, from the information that's getting out, from what we can see, this seems like a pretty fucked up situation.
Yeah. And not to mention, or not to forget to mention, that within the Ukrainian ranks, there is some neo-Nazism that exists.
That you would bring that up, yeah.
And so, I could not bring it up. So, I mean, that has to be acknowledged. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The whole, the big R,
right,
as some people like to call it, you know, the elephant in the room. It exists. Yeah. It exists. We're not making it up.
Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, right, because we do understand, right, we don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. We feel for Ukraine.
Absolutely.
We feel for
100%.
Everything that's going on. What's happening to them is not okay. The women and the children that are being killed, this is wrong.
Right.
But that doesn't take away from the facts of their government, right? That the fact that, you know, there are some neo-Nazis in their government, that those are just facts. You can't take that one way or the other. And there have been some reports of people being racist and letting people across the border.
Right. So, it is what it is. We like to be objective here and give a well-rounded perspective. Mm-hmm. We're never, not necessarily from the left or from the right. We right down the middle. We're as centrist as Joe Biden.
I like my news.
Although I'm not a fan of that.
My women. Well-rounded.
Hey. That was nice.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice. Yeah. Oh, and one last little tidbit of information for people that might not be privy to it. We were also talking earlier about how Putin was put into power by the U.S.
Absolutely.
in the 90s.
Yeah, he was. He was handpicked, actually, by the U.S. I don't know all of the facts. I could go back and research that, and we'll certainly come back with all of the facts on that at a later date. But yeah, he was handpicked by the United States to replace his predecessor.
Yeah, Boris Yeltsin,
yes,
I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The chickens always come home to roost.
Mm-hmm.
They always come home to roost.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Malcolm. Now that he coined that phrase.
Yeah, shout out Max. Rest in peace. Rest in power.
Rest in power. So, you know, and this is the criticism that I have about us being so anti-Russian for what they're doing. We have a huge track record of going into other nations and manipulating their political systems,
mm-hmm.
and mainly their political systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually comes back, and it usually backfires in some way or shape or form. It might suit us in our interest at the time,
mm-hmm.
but there's always repercussions for it.
Right.
Always. So, you know, hey, we put this man in power. Now we're going to have to deal with him until he's put out of power, which might be pretty soon. Because from what I've heard, the oligarchs who are being affected by this war, getting their assets seized, they are not happy.
Right.
And
Those
as
are
much
mobsters,
power,
right?
Exactly, as much power as Putin has, those oligarchs also have a lot of power.
Right.
And if they are not happy with how he's conducting business, so to speak, they will out him.
How many oligarchs are there?
I would be pressed to say that there's no finite number on that.
Really?
I would be pressed, but, you know, do a quick Google search and see what it might say. I mean, because an oligarch it's not like you're like the census, like you're marked down in the census as an oligarch. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that one would take a little bit of time to find out, but we'll come back with that too, with how many Russian oligarchs there are, and that's a mob that runs very deep.
Right. So Putin, you better watch your ass, bro.
You heard it here first from the Bronx Room. Putin better watch your ass.
Free Britney.
Hey, for real
we ain't
though.
playing with you.
Yeah. Free Britney.
We ain't playing.
That's not even cool.
You want us coming over there?
That's some bullshit.
You don't want that. I guarantee it.
Yeah, because I will Say something when I get over
Well,
there.
I will be putting my foot in Putin's ass.
There you go. Yeah.
Puto.
We talk real big over here at the Brazil, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, you know what though? Hey, Putin ain't nothing to mess with. He
ain't.
was a judo champion.
He was, and he also
Olympian,
rode a
I
bear.
think. He what?
Rode a bear.
Did he really?
Nah, that was a meme I saw, but it's still cool though.
He be taking some fire pictures.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
his Instagram be popping, bro.
Right? Yo, get me shirtless.
Right, on a horse. Right. Yeah, I remember
whatever
the famous picture a few years ago when he was riding the horse all shirtless and shit.
Yeah.
He was flexing hard. He was flexing, man. And I don't blame him.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be, flexing some morphine pretty soon if you're not careful. you gotta be careful, man.
Yeah.
That's funny as hell. Yeah, but that being said, man, I don't know who is giving Putin advice and telling him what moves to make, but it doesn't seem like it's the right person in your corner, Putin.
Right.
It don't seem you should change advisors. You should change some people.
Yeah, because his economy is tanking right now.
Absolutely.
The oil industry is being sanctioned so heavily and being boycotted really by the rest of the globe that I know that their second biggest oil manufacturer or company, they appealed to him to stop this war because their stock market or their stock price has tanked. I believe before the war started, it was around $80 per share. It's now at like $12 per share.
God dang.
Yeah, so it's they're hurting. They're hurting bad, and if
that's
this lasts
not
for
that's
long,
not a non-powerful company.
no,
right?
yeah, oil is, I believe, one of their biggest exports.
It is, yeah, behind grain. Yeah, it's like oil and grain.
Right.
Like to me, that's crazy. Oil
Right.
and diamonds, oil, grain, and diamonds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're pretty big diamond exporters as well.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, but you gotta listen to the music. But speaking of bad advice, Chris, we're gonna take a second to segue into a new segment that we have. Speaking of advice, and this is called Worst Piece of Advice. So we're gonna take a couple minutes and we're gonna just talk about, Chris, when you were a kid, what is the worst piece of advice that an adult gave you? That maybe when you were a kid you were like, oh, this is a good piece of advice, but now as an adult you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. I remember as a kid, this older influence.
Okay.
He sat me down and he was like, all right. What you want to do in this life is you want to get with as many women as possible.
Oh yeah.
He said
the many woman fallacy.
He said don't bat an eye or don't turn your nose up at anybody willing to give you some. And
terrible
and
advice.
I knew back then, as much as I know back now or know now, that is not good advice.
It's not good.
There's a lot of traps out here.
There's a lot of traps.
It's a lot of Chinese finger traps. You know what I mean?
Man,
You
get
do not
stuck.
want to be stuck
Yeah.
in the wrong one.
This is wow.
You do not.
Yeah, you
A
preach
lot of
it now.
implications come from
Yes, sir.
getting mixed up in the wrong one. All you got to do, look no further than the Jerry Springer show. Look no further than Maury. You know, and I was watching all these shows as a kid, so
Yeah,
I
I
knew
was more of a
like
Jerry Springer than Maury though. The
Yeah,
Jerry
Maury-
Springer show boobies.
I mean, come on. I mean, Jerry Springer was hard to beat.
Right? You
It's
know what I'm
hard to
saying?
beat. I was
Like,
just watching a documentary on Hulu, matter of fact, called The 90s. They do like little, it's a several episode series on different phenomenons in the 90s. Jerry Springer was the topic of the first episode, and how pervasive that show was to the culture. And yeah, so I didn't need to look much further than shows like that, and really just around me and who I was surrounded by, just in general, in the hood I grew up in. And like, I mean, hey man, if you want to get it with as many women as possible, do so, but do so carefully, because if you get mixed up with the wrong one, your life will be a living hell.
A living
hell.
Yes,
I have
sir.
so many friends who hate their baby mamas.
Oh man.
Who
real.
hate them.
That's not a good situation to be in, bro.
Who hate them.
Right? Say it one more time.
Who hate them. Like it's serious,
Capital
man.
H.
It's serious. I pray to God every night that I'll never find myself in a situation like that, honestly.
Amen.
So,
you gotta be careful, man.
Yeah,
you gotta
so-
really do your due diligence when it comes to finding your partner. So we're not just talking about guys to women, women to guys
men
out there,
too. There's a lot of trash ass dudes out there.
Yeah, for
females.
real.
Come fuck with a real one.
You know what's funny though? You're
fuck
talking
with-
to
I'm
like
just
a
saying.
lot of women right now.
I am,
So
and I'm
are you gonna weed through them?
I'm gonna
Chris?
weed through them. I like to vet
There you go.
through
Yeah,
my
yeah,
selection.
yeah. Okay, so you
gotta
got ladies.
vet
You
them.
heard it here first. Chris likes to vet.
Come through, you gonna get vetted. But if you're worthy, you will get chosen.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Only if you're worthy.
Spoken by a true king. I see you, king.
That's right. Appreciate
I see
you,
you,
King. Appreciate
yes,
you.
sir. Yeah. So
What was the worst piece of advice you were given as a kid?
Man, the worst piece of advice, maybe not the worst, because I can't really say the worst because that's how bad it was, but this was pretty bad. This was, I knew on the spot that this was terrible, and I laughed it off until I got a bit older and realized the person that gave me this advice was very serious. But it was an older Caucasian gentleman, and he was like, when you see a girl that you like, just go up to her and just give a little pat on the
Oh my
tush.
God.
No, I will never.
Oh
do
my
that,
God.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, spoken as a true man with privilege.
Right, exactly. And you know what's funny? The way that he did it, like, it was so gross to me because the way he moved his hand it was so stiff. It was like, that's how you, like, that's weird to me, man.
I mean, granted, if this dude was old, he was probably coming from the perspective of a nigga a white man
Right.
in the 1950s or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Where that shit was probably acceptable.
Probably
He
was
probably
back
got
then.
a lot of play from that.
He probably
to
did.
be honest.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you can't
Sally
move like
J,
right.
you know, it's
You
like,
know, Bessie Sue, right?
Hey, giggle.
Right, but not today, dog.
Yeah, not
That's
today.
a quick ticket to prison.
Straight
Quick
up.
ticket.
For real. That's a
Express.
quick ticket to get canceled, quick ticket to get jumped, quick ticket
Yeah.
to prison.
Right.
It's a quick ticket to a lot of bad things.
A lot of bad shit.
A lot of bad shit.
You
a
know,
lot of bad shit.
90% bad's gonna come out of that. 10% of the time, you might get lucky, you know.
Depending on where you at
Right.
and what the circumstances
She might
are.
be into it, but
Right. You know, if you already in something, you know what I'm saying?
go
you
ahead,
just
play
do a
ball.
right, play ball, right. You know,
Smack
if you're
it
just
up.
waking up for breakfast, you know, you see her in there in the kitchen cooking.
right.
You got an established connection. You can slap that ass. But if you at a library
Right,
and
not
you
so
see
much.
Mrs. Johnson hanging up on a ladder, putting the book away, you better mind your damn business.
You just keep on walking.
You better keep on.
Keep on walking.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so that was terrible advice. I never ever followed
Well,
that.
you're a wise man for sifting through the good from the bad advice.
Right, exactly. My grandpa, rest in peace, Charles Johnson, used to say, "You eat the meat, but you spit the bones."
Okay, right.
So you take the good,
Take
and
the
you
good,
just sift
spit
out the
out the
bad
bad.
stuff.
Right.
That's what you got to do with your women, with your advice.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying, with your information,
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
that good jazz, man.
Yeah. Well, your grandfather was a wise man.
He really was, though.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Charles Johnson.
April is International Jazz Appreciation Month, so join the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center and 88.1 K-Jazz for Broadway in the Mert Park, the West Coast's biggest Jazz Appreciation Month celebration. As we pay tribute to Count Basie, Ella Fitzgerald, John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, Sarah Vaughan, Dizzy Gillespie, Dinah Washington, Joe Williams, Billie Holiday, B.B. King, Lena Horne, and many, many more. It all starts on April 1st, all the way through April 30th. There'll be educational lectures and shows by yours truly, Barbara Morrison, the John Stevens Quartet, Al Williams and the Jazz Society, Jay Jackson, Sloan Robinson, and many more. Proceeds from Broadway in the Mert Park will benefit the California Jazz and Blues Museum. All this will take place at the BMPAC in the Mert Park. See you here.
You know what it feels like to have a whole lot of bottled up potential nagging at you like a low-grade fever as your behaviors get in the way of your best interests. Your path to living your best life requires not that you change who you are, but build an external environment around you that manages all of the stuff that gets in your way for you. Here, you'll create a collection of tools that are custom tailored to meet your needs and coalesce into one custom-built, personal app. And no tech experience is required.
System status, powering on.
Who are you? A believer? A professional? A mastermind? Do you follow the crowd? Or follow your gut? And when the chips look down, will you fold? Or do you go all in? You know who you are. You don't have to talk about it. When you can be about it. You're the real deal. You make it happen. And you let the world know. You bet on yourself.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Yeah, that being said, so worst piece of advice, we both have some terrible advice. That's we know not to do that. And speaking of sifting through information, the State of the Union was this past week, right?
I believe it was last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
I believe it was last Wednesday, yeah. Did you watch it?
I did. I watched the whole thing.
What did you think of it?
To be honest, I was inspired at the end of it.
Yeah. From anything in particular, or just the whole speech was
the whole speech in general. I think that that was the first time I had seen Sleepy Joe, being that just really being that present in the moment.
Yeah.
And being that inspiring.
Yeah. They must have pumped him full of
I was thinking
some
that,
type of narcotic.
Right. I was like, I wonder what kind of drugs.
Right.
He's
He on
and
something.
how can I get those
Right. He was on that. He must have took that limitless pill.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Because he was sentient as a 40-year-old.
Right. He really was.
as a 50-year-old or something like that. You know? But to me, so yes, the speech did what the speech was supposed to do.
It was beautiful. It was
it was supposed to rile up the base, rile up the country, and get them feeling good. That's generally what the State of the Union is meant to do, is to get people feeling good about the direction of where things are or where they're going. He touched on a lot of different topics. I wrote them all down. I just want to briefly state all the different things that he talked about.
Hit me with them.
He talked about COVID. He talked about guns. He talked about the Supreme Court. He talked about veteran benefits. He talked about health care. He talked about the HBCUs, very lightly. LGBTQ. He talked about pharma costs. He talked about cancer research, which was I liked that one. I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
He talked about Ukraine sanctions, or maybe Russian sanctions. I wrote that down wrong. He talked about 6.5 million new jobs added to the economy, or to the workforce. He talked about 5.7 rate of growth for the economy over the past year. He talked about trickle-down economics being a thing of the past. He talked about 500,000 charging stations being added to the roadways for electric vehicles. He talked about Intel and their $20 billion investment in Columbus somewhere, but possibly being a $100 billion investment. He talked about child care. He talked about PPE fraud. And he talked about $400,000. He talked about taxes going towards only those over the $400,000 a year bracket.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And he also talked about police. He touched on police.
Yeah.
So,
Lightly.
yeah. Well, we'll get into that. So let's go get into that right now.
Yeah,
so
let's dive in.
This was a part of the speech I was not really feeling.
The police.
Now he got a round of applause for it.
Okay.
Okay. What he talked about was not defunding the police,
Right.
but
okay,
giving
yes.
them more funds.
Right. Yes.
My criticism of that is why. Now he did touch on the fact that there were 2 police officers murdered in New York, maybe a few months ago.
Yeah.
And rest in peace to both of those brothers. They were both 27 and 21 years old. That's really young.
It's very young.
Really young.
Right.
And my heart goes out to them. That's I don't condone that at all. But at the same time, there's a lot of other people, citizens, who are gunned down and killed by police as well every day.
Yeah.
So let's not lose sight of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's not lose sight of the fact that the defund the police movement came out of the George Floyd crisis and all these atrocious murders that have been taking place over years. Yeah. So the defund the police thing is not about
let's go into that because I think we have differing opinions.
Yeah, we probably do.
Yeah.
Defund the police is not about taking the money away from the police stations or the police training or whatever. It's a reallocation of departments across the nation that are abundantly and they're inundated with money. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: if you're going to be inundated with money and you're still going to be having shitty results in terms of how your police force is operating, then we need to take some of that money away and put it where it's going to actually be doing good. Right. As of right now, a lot of our police departments around the nation are over-militarized. They have tanks and bazookas and all types of stuff in some of these police departments.
Right. No, you're not wrong.
You know what I mean? So let's take the money that they're really just spending towards trivial and non-essential things. Let's put it towards better training.
Right.
Let's put it towards different departments outside the police department that can intervene in situations that police shouldn't be really involved in to begin with. There's been several cases of somebody calling the police because of a mental health issue and they end up being killed because not because they necessarily pose a threat to their family member or whoever made the call in the first place, but because they can't control them. We need some type of assistance to come and help us with this situation. Not people wielding guns, but maybe somebody, a mental health care professional, to come and intervene in this.
Right. I think you bring up great points, and I'm glad that you clarified that because I wasn't sure exactly where you stood on that, because the defund the police has been bastardized a little bit.
Yeah, and they bastardize a lot of the movements that we try to, a lot of the cases that we try to bring.
And it's an effective tactic.
For sure.
You can put a bad connotation.
Hey, this devil is smart.
He's smart. Absolutely.
He is smart.
He is. You know what I'm saying? So if you can put a bad connotation on a movement, then that's going to put a sour taste. It's going to make it so politicized that nobody wants to touch it. Exactly. Even though they feel for you, they're not going to want to publicly touch it, right? So I'm glad that you said that because we agree basically on everything you literally just said. Okay, so, but the reason or the way that it had been bastardized was people started taking it and saying that it just meant we need less police or we need no police, like how they did in Oregon. Was
it Oregon or Washington?
I think it was Oregon. Was it Washington too?
I believe it was Washington that they had like a zone within the Capitol.
Oh, really?
Where it was just like you fend for yourself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that did not turn out well.
No, it didn't turn out well
at all. Yeah,
it didn't turn out terribly. I don't think there was a whole bunch of like murders or whatever.
I think there was a lot of like stealing.
Yeah,
like,
some
like
of that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was
shitting in the streets.
Right.
Like yeah. Anytime you're shitting in the streets,
it's a bad situation.
It's a bad situation.
Shout out to the streets of LA homeless population.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got plenty of that here at home.
Yeah, for real. And that's a real topic.
We'll get to that another episode, I suppose.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that's what people have taken it and they have alienated it from its original context and turned it into that, which that's not what it is. That's not what it means. We don't want to get rid of the police. We think the police are necessary.
They are.
But they're very egregiously, the money is very egregiously misallocated. Yes. Right, it's going to weapons and, like you said, military type funding when it doesn't need to be. You know, like you said, we need more. We need other training, like psychological training. Like one thing I'm a huge advocate for is doing better psychological filtering of police officers before allowing them to
need to vet these
become,
niggas, man. Just like I was just talking about. I don't even mess with a girl unless I vet her properly.
Right, and if I ain't gonna mess with a girl, what makes you think I'm gonna mess
nigga
with
a gun?
All right, you feel me?
I mean,
like,
here,
come on
take
now.
this gun, go out and have fun. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, and I don't know why. And I don't know why these processes aren't more stringent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you should be able to give them a simple questionnaire, have them go through a simple evaluation process. It doesn't take very long to identify a sociopath.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
It doesn't take very long to identify a racist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like these are very simple things. It's deeper than that. You know, there's police unions. There's like other things. You know, these are deep seated.
It goes deep.
Right, so yeah, defund the police. You know, it's not about getting rid of our police. It's about better allocating our resources, and it's about putting in the right programs to assist our police so that our neighborhoods are better served.
Right.
You want to protect us and serve. All right, so this is how you do it.
Not protect yourself and serve yourself.
Right.
That's for the citizens.
Right. But that being said, I believe Joe Biden was touching on the bastardized version of defunded police.
Which really does us all, well, particularly in our community, the black community, the bronze community, that does us a disservice.
It does, but it's a political move, though, right?
Yeah, it is.
The objective of the night was to band everybody together. Right, and he needed a branch, he needed a buoy to bring the Republicans on. Yeah. And if you're gonna have to give something up, give up the bastardized version of course.
Of course. And you know what? The thing that 100%, like I said, these devils are smart.
Yeah.
But the thing that rubs me the wrong way is you do that and you trade that off. You trade off the adoration of the nation, so to speak, or the other side of the aisle, for the black base that you were vying for votes.
Right.
Before you were instated as president.
No, you're absolutely right. The people that put you into office, you just kick them to exactly. But then one could argue
his rhetoric was very different. His rhetoric, and that's the thing. If you're gonna be one way or another, that's fine. Be that, but don't be playing with my emotions. And as you know, Chris, I've never been a Biden fan from the from jump. So I already saw this devil from a mile away. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, before he was instated or voted in, he was very in favor of these movements that were not, I wouldn't say against the police, but his whole tune was different. He was critical of our policing, and that was not the tune that he was singing on Wednesday.
No, right, and it was calculated, right?
Critical. The criticism was out the door, and it was very pro police. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you need to be anti-police, but let's have a sober-minded approach to it.
Yeah, but that wasn't the objective for the night.
And it wasn't. You're right.
But
and it wasn't. You're right.
You know, there's an argument for, all right, so the objective of the night should have been the State of the Union. What is the state of the union? You know, we need to have a sobering conversation.
Exactly.
But we're approaching midterms. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so I get it. I get it. You know, in politics it's a game, man. So I get it. I get it. They be playing chess, not checkers. So I get it. But hey, I'm playing chess too.
That's
so
right.
I see your moves. That's what I'm
Game
saying.
recognized.
I see the moves that you making. I see you I see you eyeing my queen. You know what I mean? Shout out to Brittany Grimer.
Hey.
Shout out to Brittany. I see you coming for our queen. Our
you
queens
today, Chris. I
hey,
see you.
You know
I see
what I mean?
you get them today.
Hey,
you on it.
Hey, man.
That's what's up.
But
where's he going with this? Oh.
Yeah, man. But in other things that he touched on during the speech that really stood out to me was childcare. That was something that I was in favor of.
Okay.
He one of the statistics that he stated was $14,000 a year, up to $14,000 a year is what it costs per child in childcare. For a lot of parents out there are single.
You're right.
$14,000 for childcare
Right.
is what some people are spending
When you're making $50,000 or less.
exactly.
A year,
That's
a huge chunk.
that's a huge chunk.
Right.
That's a huge chunk.
Right.
So I mean, we gotta get universal child care implemented into this nation somehow. You know, that really cuts into your bag if you have to pay for that out of pocket. You know what I mean? Even if you're a 2-parent home, $14,000 is way too much.
Yeah. That's
You
a
know
lot
what I
of money.
mean? Like other nations in Europe in particular, they take care of their public with by taking care of things like childcare, taking care of education, taking care of healthcare. We don't have none of that here. And as a Democrat, they always run on platforms of, hey, let's, you guys want social programs, let's get you social programs. All right, well, you in power, so let's put your money where your mouth is. And so I'm glad that he brought that up, and let's just see if he's really about it.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean,
give him another 2 years first, but we'll see.
I mean, spoiler alert, it's not going to happen. Sorry.
We've seen this.
We've seen this move before.
Right. So
you make it sound good. Make it sound good. Get it wet, but you ain't really about it.
Nah, you're not.
So other things that stood out to me were the COVID division. So he talked about how COVID has been more of a dividing topic, and he wants to do away with that.
Right.
I think it's because a lot of information over the past few months has been coming to light, really shedding light on the fact that, there was a couple studies that came out saying the mask didn't really do much of anything to prevent the spread of this disease.
Right.
I could have told you that about a year ago.
We would have had a heated debate over it too.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I always give tolerance, or I give compassion when I'm arguing with somebody who doesn't necessarily see eye to eye with me, because I know, for one, eventually they're gonna see I was right. For two,
okay, that's how we go. All right, I see you. That was well played. That was well played. You don't always win these arguments. I'm just throwing that
eventually,
out there now.
I always win. That's what I'm saying.
Played a long game over
You
here.
know, I mean, they say trust the science, and sometimes science is slow to come out with information, and it's an evolving thing. So, I mean, you can never be too sure about a lot of stuff. Is all I'm saying.
Right.
And so, they were saying that the masks haven't really done much. The vaccines, as we all see as right now, they might stop hospitalization, which is great. Definitely in favor of that, but they do not stop the spread of the disease.
Sure.
So
I want to make a point though, because you made a point. So
yeah, of course.
Yo, a year ago, 2 years ago, you wouldn't have held that stance, that hospitalizations. You would have been like,
let me see. I think my biggest argument probably would have been that
you would have said something along the lines of it's manufactured and all of this is nonsense. Which
it turned out to be kind of true.
Some of it did.
Right.
But
You know what I mean?
weren't on the side of hospitalizations need to come down. That was a non sequitur for you. So it's like, it's neither here nor there. You know.
Yeah, and I speak in a greater context.
Right.
The greater context of it all. Hospitalizations are pretty important. I'll give you that. And so the fact that these vaccines have been able to limit that are awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
But the bigger context of the situation was we're trying to stop the spread.
Right.
This is a respiratory disease, dog. Like that. It's as naive as saying we're going to stop the cold from happening. It's just a naive.
The sickness, the cold, or the weather?
Yeah, the cold.
Because both are inevitable.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, either one fits my argument.
Right. Yeah.
You're not going to stop that.
Right.
So, I mean, you're going to have to learn to live with it. Anyway, Biden alluded to the fact that, hey, this issue has been politicized, and that is a dividing thing that does not need to divide us any longer.
Right.
I mean, he said that, and if he's serious about like trying to squash the division, then kudos to him. But I mean, this is also the man that made it a mandate to get the vaccine that doesn't stop you from getting the disease.
Right.
So
I think it was another political move.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a way for him to backtrack without it seeming
like he was wrong.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. See, devils is smart. I'm telling you,
man. Yeah,
these devils is smart.
They smart. He's like, you know what? Why don't we just forget about
right.
this whole thing? This was stupid. You was stupid. I was stupid. We was just stupid.
We was all stupid.
We was all stupid. Let's go get a shake.
So, but I'm glad that he is at least alluding to the fact that he wants to kind of limit all that. I'm still waiting for those mandates to be taken away. I think it's very anti-American.
The vaccine mandates?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
very
I don't know if they will.
Unconstitutional.
Well, it's mandated that you got to get a vaccine in order to go to school.
Yeah, that's true. But as an adult, as a grown-ass man,
right.
I shouldn't be forced to do anything.
Fair enough.
To do something to my body that I don't want to do to my body.
I agree.
As an adult,
I don't know if it's going to be reversed though.
Yeah, probably.
It's really hard to reverse a law.
Well, it was an executive order.
Okay, fair point. So the next administration could come in and reverse it.
Could, yeah, and he can do it if he wants to. Let's see. He also touched on pharma costs and how those need to be brought down.
Some time on that.
Which is, you know me. I'm all about. Well, for one, I'm not for pharmaceuticals in general.
Yeah, but let's get into the nuance of it. Yeah.
But when you're talking about the cost of pharmaceuticals, well, for one, I'm against pharmaceuticals for many reasons, but that being one of them.
Well, you're against Western medicine, period.
100%.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Shout out to my Eastern medicine, naturopathic, homeopathic professionals out there.
Shout out.
You know what I'm saying? But these corporations don't act in good faith. You know what I mean? And so when you put your health in their hands, you're just playing with a dog that might lash out at you.
Might lash at you? It's a rabid dog.
It's a rabid dog.
It's gonna lash out.
It's gonna lash out at you. More so at your pockets than anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so there's some pharmaceutical drugs like insulin, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think this is something that he touched on during his speech.
Yeah.
It costs 10 cents per vial to make.
That when he said that blew my mind. Like,
yeah.
Well, what? I mean, of course it makes sense, right? That's how profit works.
Yeah.
But to see it like that, like that egregious, like that much, like you charging how much?
Yeah, I think they said $30 a vial or something like that.
You know what I'm saying? Something along those lines. But like that, to me, that's crazy. Like, no, that's ridiculous.
I mean, it's especially egregious when you take into account that these aren't consumer products. These are health. These are things for people's health. This is life or death.
Right.
It's not like the newest iPod or whatever. Yeah, mark that up as much as you want. That's for pleasure. But when it comes to somebody's health, and you're talking about somebody that might be out of job, their health is suffering, so they're less likely to be able to fend for themselves, go out and work to pay for that stuff. It's just a terrible system for you to not have that regulated.
Right.
And that it's not regulated because they have their hand in all these politicians' pockets.
Right.
You know, there's a show on Hulu called Dope Sick that really goes over the opioid crisis that took place over the past 30 years, talking about how these pharmaceutical companies they intentionally got a lot of people addicted to their product because they know that it's going to be reoccurring customers for them. Wow. It's return customers. That's real business right there. You don't want a customer to come and buy something once and be happy. You want to get them coming back for more. Exactly. Just like your neighborhood street pusher or drug pusher.
The first one's free.
You know what I mean? Like, for one, this goes really deep for me. But you know what I mean? It's illegal for them to do that on the corner.
So why is it?
But these white collar people can do it all they want without indemnity or with indemnity.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just wrong. So if he's serious about it, and I doubt he is, his administration is going to be trying to lower the cost of that. We'll see what comes of that, man. The pharmaceutical companies' hands are so deep in politicians' pockets. I don't see that coming. I don't see that happening. I really don't.
And the sad thing is, like, we disagree on a lot of things, but I can't disagree with you on that.
Well, I think you'd be going against a lot of your audience if you did.
Yeah, jokes. Nah.
No, I'm serious. Most people would probably not stop tuning into this if you weren't in agreement with that.
Oh, right. I think.
I don't know what our audience looks like, but
yeah. I genuinely thought you meant something else by that, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But regardless of audience or not, I think from a moral perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just fucking wrong, man.
Right. And yeah, my heart really goes out to people who just aren't able. You think about somebody, say, just in your family who's sick, right, with like a life-threatening disease, and their only hope is getting a medication that is sending them deeper and deeper into poverty, and eventually they won't be able to pay for it. And if we don't have universal health care, he's dead. He or she is dead.
That's a very effective way to kill somebody off.
Right. Wow. Also getting rich.
Right.
And that's the crime of it.
Right.
That's the crime of it. It's like,
I got you.
So that's a whole nother episode's worth of information. Yeah. But to wrap up State of the Union, the one other thing that really stood out to me is the juxtaposition between Biden's rhetoric towards gun manufacturers. He really came after them, saying that there needs to be more regulation on our ability to sue gun manufacturers. There was a big case that just won on the East Coast. I forget what shooting it was. There's so many every day, but one of the major gun manufacturers got successfully sued for their product, their guns' involvement in
advertising the kids.
Which one?
They were advertising.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they proved that they were advertising the kids, and I don't know if it was. I don't remember the name of the shooting, so my apologies, guys, and we'll get the name of that. I believe it was the Parkland, but I'm not sure.
I think you're right. You're right. Yeah. So, and which I'm in favor of. Let's regulate these people that are really just posing a threat to society and putting their products. Now, it's a Second Amendment right. It's baked into the Constitution. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. This shit it's not helping.
Right.
It's not helping. So there has to be some type of regulation on it. Just like there should be regulation on anything that poses a threat to the American public. But it stood out to me that his rhetoric towards gun manufacturers and regulation on them was much deeper, much more serious than his rhetoric on pharmaceutical companies being regulated. And if you go back and look and listen to the speech, you'll see what I mean. Like, it's a very soft approach, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, when your hands are in their pockets,
right?
They might talk, they might touch on it, but they're not going to go in on you.
Nah, they can't.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So those were the biggest points of the night for me. But yeah, overall, the speech did what it was supposed to do.
Absolutely.
It made the nation feel good.
It did. It definitely. It's interesting that you bring that up. Because these manufacturers, whether these big corporations that have their hands in these politicians, in
their
mouths or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You could say that it's like a spider drawing his prey to a web. You know what I'm saying?
That's
right?
interesting.
So
That's
it's like
interesting
they
analogy.
draw them in with this money.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you got to you're stuck literally in their web.
You're stuck.
And then you get stuck in a web of lies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
You got to keep pushing that, and eventually, one would think your soul would get eaten alive, but
I like to think that.
Right.
I like to think that there's some justice that's served at the end of the day, but
right, exactly.
I think we'll never know until that day.
We can argue about the melty half slice of cheese or the creamy tartar sauce, but no one can argue that a filet-o-fish could exist without the smooth, perfectly steamed buns that hold it together. Well, no one we want to know. Anyways.
Come in and enjoy the steamed buns of your Filet-O-Fish for just $2.50 on Fridays. Because when it's Friday, the family knows it. Prices and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You'll never know, absolutely. But speaking of spiders, though, so our next topic is about this is about something that's really interesting, something that kind of freaks Chris a little bit out. But it's about the Joro Spider. I don't know if any of our listeners have heard of the Joro Spider, but so this Joro Spider, it's a bad motherfucker, man. It's a bad motherfucker,
Really?
bro. Yes, sir.
Tell me about it.
That is a very interesting looking spider. It is definitely the spider that bit Spider-Man, that bit Peter Parker. Like, this motherfucker is... I'm going to show you a picture. This is a picture of it.
Damn.
That's a big-ass spider, bro. That is a big-ass spider. And so I'm going to try to describe it for our audience, but it has 8 legs, like most spiders.
Most spiders.
And, but its thorax, right? So like its butt is huge, and it's striped yellow and green, and it has these very long, spindly black and yellow legs. But it's a flat body, but it's a very big flat body.
Yeah.
And these things are huge.
Yeah, I think it looks tremendous.
Yeah, and so they're not native to the United States. They came over to the United States, gosh, I want to say sometime in 2013. I hope that I'm getting that correct. But yeah, sometime around then, yes. So it arrived in 2013 in...
From where?
That's a good question. So I believe...
And how? Do they know how it got here, or just...
Look how big that thing is.
We'll never know.
Look at that. Look at his hand, and look at that. Look how big that spider is.
Yeah, that's...
Bro, can you imagine that crawling on you?
Yeah,
that's
man.
crazy.
And they pose a real threat in what way? Are they poisonous?
They don't pose a real threat, to be honest. They're not. They're poisonous, but their fangs are not big enough to break. Most of their fangs are not big enough to break human skin.
They have multiple fangs?
No, well, most of the spiders' fangs aren't big enough to bite through human skin.
Right.
They don't pose any sort of threats to the fowl or the ecosystem at all.
Good.
But they're just really prevalent. There's like a lot of these motherfuckers, and so they're poised to take over the East Coast in the next few years.
Yeah.
And the reason why is what excites me, because these motherfuckers are bad, bro. These are some bad spiders. So they are cousins to another type of spider, and I think it's the golden silk spider.
The golden silk spider.
Yeah, the golden silk spider.
That sounds kind of sexy.
It is. Chris, are you you into this right now? Tell me more about this spider. What kind of silk is it?
What kind of legs it got?
Is it got 8 too? You know I like them legs, man. Yeah, I mean, sure, as far as spiders go, I'm sure it's a very sexy and attractive spider.
Sounds like pretty dope,
Yeah.
dope spider.
Yeah, but they're cousins to the golden silk spider.
Okay.
And what makes golden silk spiders, they're kind of prevalent in more like warmer, temperate climates.
Okay.
but they couldn't really spread very far because they don't handle the cold very well.
Okay, right.
Now,
right.
what makes the Joro Spider like badass is that not only is its heart rate faster, and not only that its heart rate is faster, but its body is more durable as well. So it's got a faster heart rate.
Yeah.
It has a more durable body,
Right.
and it can survive. It has a double the metabolism of a golden silk spider. 77% higher heart rate.
Wow.
And can survive freezing temperatures.
That's crazy.
That's
How?
crazy.
Is it still like walking around, or it freezes itself?
No, it's still walking
and then when
around.
it thaws out.
Now freezing temperatures is relative, right? So
Right.
we're talking about Georgia weather, right?
Okay.
So we're talking about really, really cold, breezy.
Okay.
We're not talking about snow.
Gotcha,
We're talking
gotcha,
about
gotcha.
like really, really cold,
Gotcha.
cold temperate weather.
Okay.
So yeah, 77% higher heart rate leads to a faster metabolism,
Right,
which
right,
means
right.
that it can withstand those.
Doesn't that mean it needs to eat more often?
Exactly.
And is it able to satisfy that metabolism without
That's what humans
dying?
are for, Chris.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm messing with you. They don't, like
Oh,
I said,
man.
their fangs aren't big enough for that. But yeah, so it does mean that they do need to eat more. But so far, they haven't had a real effect on the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So they don't project that they're going to have an effect on the ecosystem. They're just really scary looking spiders.
Yeah, they are. And
Yeah.
I'm really not happy that you showed me that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to try to get a couple and bring and show you if I can bring them to you. Not just playing. But the thing is, they just spread. They reproduce really fast,
Yeah.
which is why they're able to reproduce on the East Coast. And then, as this article that I found came out, they had to do an update on the article because one of the students that was helping out on the study accidentally brought a Joro spider from the East Coast over to Oklahoma. So,
Man, he or she is tripping.
right.
I
so-
live close to Oklahoma.
You know
California
what
is
I'm
close
saying?
to
Right,
Oklahoma.
we're like right there.
Damn
So
it.
that means it's already on the West Coast.
Oh
You
man.
know what I'm saying? So prepare yourselves, y'all.
What eats spiders? Anything?
Birds?
Okay, so we got to get us some more birds. Then.
You gotta get us what the
We got to find more birds, bring them into California.
Yo,
Right?
That's it. We gotta
Let's get some more birds. Whatever else.
I don't care what
whatever
kind of
else
bird it
eats
is.
spiders.
Give me a seagull. Give me a robin.
Let's try them all.
I need a bluebird. And if we can get one of them big motherfuckers. That's hilarious, bro. He said we need to give some more birds.
Some more birds out here.
Birds.
man.
So there you have it. There's Chris's solution. We just gotta get some birds.
See, hey, make me president, man. I'm gonna take care of everything.
He got the answer to
I'm gonna take care of
everything,
everything.
man. He said, "I got your health care.
Uh-huh,
I
your
got
child
police
care.
reform, your your child reform, and I got birds." That's funny.
Yeah, you
bro.
want to be my vice president? You
I
sound
got you,
like
bro. I got you. Y'all be a hype man too.
That's a winning platform, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a winning
We
platform.
got birds. We got birds.
That's
we got
our slogan.
Big birds.
That's our campaign.
We got small birds. We got orange birds.
We got blackbirds.
We got blackbirds all
Right.
day because we got to be represented.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we got the motherfuckers that like to dance and pick up leaves. And
Hey,
shit.
right.
We got all the birds. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Shout
So,
out
yeah.
to Birdman.
Shout out to Birdman. What? That's our sponsor of this episode. That's hilarious. So prepare for the Joro Spider, y'all. It's you heard it here first.
Coming to a
Once it
town
starts
near
to
you.
take over. So they aren't harmless to humans. So
Thank God for that.
yeah, try not to kill them if you don't have to. I am a huge advocate of animals and insects, or mainly insects inside. If you don't have to kill it, please don't kill it, man. These insects play a very important role in our ecosystem. So please don't kill these insects if you don't have to. I know some people are afraid of bugs, but get somebody in your house who could just get a cup or something. Take the motherfucker outside. I promise you, he will be okay.
He better not find his ass in my room. Because if I find him, he ain't making it back
That's
out.
that nigga Joro.
I'm sending a message to all these motherfuckers. Sending a message.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
hang his body outside my window.
Just by a web.
Right.
Hang it by his own
See what
web.
happens?
That's awesome. That's hilarious. All right, so y'all heard it, Joro. Stay away.
Stay away.
Yeah. All right, so wrapping up here, Chris. What's your vibe of the week? Well, I know your vibe of the week.
Yeah,
Your vibe of the week. Yeah, yours is dope as fuck.
Why don't you start with your vibe of the week?
So my vibe of the week is arguably better than yours. to be
Okay,
honest.
let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I don't know if you guys have ever had Trader Joe's Scallion pancakes.
No, I have not.
Bro.
Wow, scallion pancakes.
They like green onions and scallions and these Korean style pancakes.
Damn.
Bro, oh man, that's a
my
vibe.
God.
That's a vibe. I had
Really?
some with my lunch the other day. So
Wow.
you take these things, they're frozen. They start out frozen, and you put them in a pan. You don't even need a lot of oil, just like a little bit of olive oil in there. Rub it around the pan. You see my mouth starting to water, right?
Yeah, mine's just watering right with you, man.
That's what I'm
right
saying.
with you.
You toss that sucker in there, bro. Within like 10 minutes, it starts to get golden brown. You put that with some like fried rice, with some bulgogi, and some like spinach. Bro, that was like the perfect meal.
Man.
And I'm telling you, I don't know what they're putting in these scallion pancakes, bro. But I could eat that alone. Like, I don't need to eat anything else with it. So shout out to Trader Joe's with your scallion pancakes. That's my vibe of the week. But Chris, hit us with it. Hit us with it. What's going on?
So, Friday, I was able to get down to the movie theater and watch The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman was the shit.
Really?
It was such a good movie, man. Like, I don't be fanboying often, man. That's just not. It's just not in my style. But
Unless it comes to birds. That technically is a bird.
But The Batman was the best movie I've seen possibly ever in my lifetime.
Ever though?
Possibly ever.
Chris,
I'm telling
for
you,
real,
man.
Like ever though?
I'm a huge Batman fan.
Okay.
First and foremost.
So you're biased.
I am biased.
Okay.
Super biased. And unashamed about it too.
Okay.
Batman over Superman all day. Batman over Marvel. I know. Shots fired. Yeah.
Okay.
Shots
All right.
fired.
We'll
But check
talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know. I'm fighting a losing battle with that one. But yo, the thing that I love the most about this movie is the darkness of it.
Interesting.
They delve deep. I'm talking about balls deep into the darkness of this man Bruce Wayne's life. You know what I mean? Generally, we see Bruce Wayne as kind of a rich, affluent playboy type. You know what I'm saying? He's got it all together and everything. That is quite contrary to the Batman or the Bruce Wayne that we see in this newest edition.
Okay. Now don't give out.
I'm not going to say much more than that.
Cool.
But you know, just think about losing your parents at a young age to an assailant and how that would affect you growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very much still on this man's spirit, which you can argue is a part of all the Batman movies.
Right.
But they go deep into that.
Wow.
And so it transfers over into his alter ego as Batman. He's not necessarily he's very dark. He's very dark.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
I love it.
I love that.
Oh,
well, you love
man.
all these things dark.
I do.
Anyway.
I do.
Hey,
I
hey,
do.
ain't
I'm a
nothing
dark
wrong
brother,
with
so
dark.
I mean,
Hey,
hey,
look,
you know.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because I think in the DC universe they were really struggling to be able to find that balance between something that's like good cinema and the darkness of the DC universe, right? So they were trying to figure out a way to do that, and so you think they've accomplished it?
I think so. I think they've done a pretty shitty job thus far, as
Right.
far as
Justice League.
Well, when you compare it to Marvel, like it's just It's just there's not even an argument or competition.
Right.
There's no comparison.
Right.
But I think they have a very, very good chance at rectifying that if they continue down that road. Now, when you think about it, the Joker, very dark movie.
Right.
The Batman, as I'm telling you, very dark movie.
Right.
Now, if they can really latch onto that, then they can juxtapose, or they can really contrast themselves and separate themselves from Marvel. Mm-hmm. Marvel, very light, very fantastical, very cool.
Right.
Okay, but if you do a 180 degree spin from that, you can really make more of an identity for your DC
You can
brand.
find their own lane.
You can find your own lane,
right?
And in that way, you can get more people that are interested in you. You know what I mean? I think
that's what set apart DC from Marvel. DC was a little darker than Marvel. It's always been
what
darker.
examples?
I mean, Justice League
I didn't see it. I heard it was shit.
No, I meant comics. Comic-wise.
Oh, comic-wise.
Right, comic-wise.
Yeah, for sure,
Right.
comic-wise. But that hasn't transferred over into the cinema.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I think that's something that they should have held on to.
They should have done that a long time
ago.
ago.
They wanted to try to be the better Marvel, or you know what I'm saying, or the Marvel of the DC universe.
That's
and
a
they just
foolish
failed
approach.
Miserably.
Yeah, really bad.
Right. They tried to take that formula. It didn't work.
Whenever I've told people that I'm a DC fan, I get eaten alive.
As you should.
As I should, because these DC movies are trash.
They've been fun to watch.
Yeah, they've been alright.
Like if you're not doing nothing on a Saturday,
right?
you
Yeah,
waste
exactly.
A few hours,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can have that shit on in the background.
Right. While
you're
you
doing
do some homework.
Right.
Stuff, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think if they continue in that direction, that they'll definitely make a comeback. Definitely. So yeah, everybody go check it out. Oh man, I can't say enough about it. Now I will say, well, for one, let's touch more on the good stuff. Zoe Kravitz.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
Yo, she's so fine.
She's fine.
She's so fine.
Yeah. So her playing Catwoman is
Is she sexy with her, or is she dark with
very
her?
sexy with it. Very sexy with it. The chemistry that they have, great.
I love it. I love
great.
it.
You're gonna love it.
I love that.
I will say that, especially towards the end, it got real corny. There were a couple. It was corny. There was some corny stuff in there.
Okay.
So that is my one criticism of it.
Okay.
But overall, good vibe. Huge vibe.
Now, without giving anything away, just on the performance itself, what did you think about? And I think it's no secret that the Penguin's going to be in it, right? So, what did you think about that performance?
Are you aware of who plays Penguin?
Yeah, it is. Give me a second to get his name. It is Colin Farrell.
Yeah, he played the shit out of that role.
Really?
I didn't even know it was him. I had no idea. I was watching the credits.
He put on a fat suit and he had the
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Colin
but just his
Farrell's
act. Well, he's always been a phenomenal actor.
Method actor,
And to this, I mean, in this role, there's no difference.
Nice, I love that.
Man.
Now, does he have
all
the
the characters
cigar throughout the entire film? You can give that. But does he have the cigar? Because
it's definitely, it's not throughout. It's not throughout.
Because he fought. I heard that he had really fought
against it.
No, to keep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they wanted to get rid of it. But it's such an integral part of Penguin.
Is it?
Cigar.
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember the monocle, the cane,
the
top
cane,
hat,
but the cigar, right? I mean, in the cartoons, for me, he always had the cigar.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but I believe I can't. That doesn't stand out to me in his performance, but it would make sense that that was at least in one or two scenes he was probably smoking it.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, all the performances were great. All of them. Alfred, great.
Who played
Falcone, great. Alfred, I don't know the brother's name.
But it was
matter of fact,
right?
no, it wasn't. It was not. Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon was the brother. That's the
he,
brother who played in the Bond films, the CIA agent, right? You didn't see the Bond films.
I didn't see the Bond films, but he is the same dude. I believe I could be getting this wrong. He's the same dude from Westworld.
Yep, that's him.
The black scientist in Westworld. So
another great performance. Although
he did a good job.
Westworld kind of fell off.
I only saw the first season.
That's the only season you needed
worth
to see.
it. Yeah, I heard the second one was pretty bad. I heard the third season they made a comeback, but I don't know. But yeah, he did a good job. I was really I was really entertained by John Turturro's role as Falcone.
Okay, nice.
Who else? You know, Alfred, I think, might be played by the same dude who was in Black Panther. Who played the dude with the arm that could, you know, the fake arm.
No,
I
way.
think they definitely resemble
Andy
each other.
Serkis.
If
You're right.
What's his name?
Yep, Andy Serkis.
Yeah. So he did a good job in that role.
Very nice. Good catch, by the way.
Yeah. You know, I'm good with faces.
Yeah.
Although I did not know that Colin Farrell was the Penguin until the credits. Like I said, damn, he played the shit out of that role.
Nice.
He did a phenomenal job.
Nice.
The Riddler was, he did his job. He did his job. He's the villain of the movie. I hope that's not a spoiler. I think that was.
Well, you just fucked it up for me, but that's cool. I'm not even tripping.
That wasn't in the trailer?
I'm not tripping, Chris. I don't care.
It was in the trailer for sure. It was in the trailer.
Chris, I don't care.
Anyway, yeah, phenomenal movie. Everybody did a good job. Robert Pattinson did a great job. I was very skeptical about that selection.
I was too.
Very skeptical.
I was too.
But given the fact that this is a more of a emo character,
yeah,
Robert Pattinson plays that.
I mean, anytime you can put diamonds on your chest and make it work.
I don't get that reference.
Oh, what's the one where he played
Twilight?
But yeah, Twilight.
That Twilight reference. I didn't see those.
That's Twilight. He was very emo in that.
Yeah. So I mean, I was just confused when they picked him, and I was kind of upset. I was pissed. I was like, why are they picking this dude? They picked Ben Affleck for Batman, which I was not a fan of. I mean, he definitely has the Bruce Wayne aspect of it.
That part.
But I don't know, man.
Who would you have picked as like the perfect Batman?
The perfect Batman? Right. How I know Batman to be?
How you know Batman?
That's a good question, man. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
Bring us back for that. But also, I like this little discussion that we're having. I think there should be a Chris the Critic segment.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's
you
a
know
good.
What I'm saying?
That's
we,
a great.
You know, we could trade off.
Great
idea.
idea.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, Chris the Critic.
Great idea. Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, coming to an episode soon. Chris the Critic. Be on the lookout for that.
And yo, so if you guys haven't had a chance to go out and see the Batman movie,
see the Batman.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be going to see it again. So.
Really?
Yeah, it was that good.
Did you see it alone this first time?
I did not.
Okay.
It was. I had a young lady at my side.
Oh, a young lady at your side.
Yeah.
I see. How distinguished. That's what's up.
All I'm gonna say.
Did you vet her?
Oh yeah, heavily.
Okay.
All I'm gonna say is the chemistry between Batman and Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good situation if you take your lady.
Good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to know. Okay. All right. Well, you know what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Yeah, do that, man. Do that.
Taking your auntie out. Yes, sir.
Oh, I walked right into that.
Yes, you did. Hey, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of The Bronze Room. Thank you heard it here this week. We just want to give a shout out to all of our listeners. We thank you guys for supporting us, for tuning in to our witty, wild ass conversations, that
our antics.
Thank
you for putting up with us.
Absolutely, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys here next week on the Bronze Room.
Como padres, hemos hecho todo lo posible para que nuestros hijos estén seguros, felices y saludables durante esta pandemia. Y ahora podemos ayudar a mantenerlos aún más seguros, vacunándolos contra el COVID-19. Se ha comprobado que las vacunas son seguras y eficaces para niños de 5 años en adelante. Habla con el médico de tu hijo o visita myturn.ca.gov para encontrar un centro de vacunación cerca de ti. Un mensaje del Departamento de Salud Pública de California.
Thank you guys for supporting us, for tuning in to our witty, wild ass conversations, that
our antics.
Our antics.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys here next week on the Bronze Room.